Okay, so today we're comparing text. We used this, you did like I did, we used the two texts to compare that are already in our reading curriculum that we're doing for this week. We always have a primer text and then also a literature text, and they're connected by focus. So we use those two texts to compare and contrast.
So we did measurable goals, and the measurable goals is that the I can statement is I can identify two similarities and two differences in similar texts. And the way that they know is that they had to be able to identify two of each.
We read the texts with the children, and then we compared the two texts using the Venn diagram. And as a pretest, we asked the students to, after discussion of the text and giving examples, we asked the students to fill out a Venn diagram for the differences and similarities in those two texts.
What we agreed upon was that for a student to be in the red, they would be a 0. They didn't get any similarities or any differences. For them to be in the yellow, they could identify one, either a similarity or one difference. In order for them to be in the blue, it would be 2 to 3 similarity or differences. And then in order to be green, they would have to be able to do the 4, which would mean they met their goal. So now we are going to discuss the results of this, and then we'll talk about what we need to work, what some strategies we can put in place to help them all reach green.
So we're going to analyze the data based on these results, and we're going to put the data on our common tool that we use. Second grade, I have the colored one.
This is the one that has all the
okay. So
pre and post.
The pre and post one.
Uh-huh.
Well, I was just going to write pre on it. So we're going to put it together as a whole group. So we do it separate, then we combine it on the common collection tool for the entire first grade.
Okay, so we'll put the students pre and post. That's the individual collection tool. That's like the teacher one. This is where we come together for first grade.
Yeah.
That's her tool. This is both tool. And since I'm the recorder of our TBT, I'll put it in the both tool right here for us, and then we'll put it in the system.
And what did we decide, Ms. Gunter, on if they're 0, they're red.
Mm-hmm.
If they have one,
it's a yellow.
Measurable. Okay.
Uh-huh. And then 2 to 3, we would put them in blue,
Mm-hmm.
and then 4 is the green.
Okay.
Right, because green is the highest, right? Or is it blue?
It's blue on the
On that
the
sheet.
the individual class ones.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's blue here too.
Mhm.
So blue, then that's switched. I was thinking the way we do it for everything else. All right.
The results weren't good. I can tell just by looking at mine so far, and Ms. Gunter said it wasn't good for her class either. As first graders, they weren't able to self-generate written answers on the Venn diagram, unable to compare texts. We thought they could possibly compare them verbally. Didn't you say that, Ms. Gunter? But not writing on the Venn diagram without us writing it up on the board for them. So we obviously have some data to work with.
So the number that is important right now for pre and post in my class is that there were 6 blue and greens and 12 yellow and reds. I had 18 students here this morning who took, 18 of my 25 who took this, that were here.
And I have 6 yellow,
And how many reds too?
right, and I have 15 reds.
15 reds, 6 yellows.
Yeah, I just don't have all their names on here.
That's
yet.
fine. On mine, I'm just
Yeah.
putting the number
Okay,
so I can put it in the system.
but I will put all their names, and then we'll combine those two into one sheet. So we should go ahead and show them how we do it. Sometimes we sit and just do the one sheet together. Just depends on, we have the luxury of time this time. So,
Do you have any blues or greens?
none.
Okay, so you had 21 take your test, your assessment, I should say, and you have 21 that were yellow or red.
Correct.
So then what we'll do is we'll initiate the TBT process in the system.
I just put the sheet out there.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Boer.
Good afternoon. Ms. Kirshner, will you please do roll call?
I absolutely would love to do that. Thank you so much, Mr. Boer.
Thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Kirshner.
Miss Williams?
Here.
Miss Hines?
Here.
Miss Page?
Here.
Miss Kirscher? Present. Miss Williams? Here. Miss Roby? Here. We are all accounted for, sir.
All right, good. So does everyone have their data?
Yes,
Yes, we do.
I see data all around, that's good. So what we were asked to do is we were looking at reading informational for 4th grade is reading informational 4.9, and for 3rd grade is reading
3.9.
informational 3.9, which is comparing 2 different texts.
It's actually the most important points and key details presented in 2 texts on the same topic.
Well, for us, it's students will be able to compare 2 texts and be able to find key details and speak knowledgeably as well as write knowledgeably about those 2 texts.
Exactly.
That's basically what ours is.
Right.
So, I think for the majority here, we went ahead and gave a pre-test that looked like, for example, 4th grade was, we read 2 texts on the 3 branches of government. And we compared information in a Venn diagram. So similarities and differences between the 2 texts, and then students had to respond to this question. So think about the information from the 2 texts we have looked at. In 1 paragraph, some of us did 1 paragraph, some of us did 3 to 4 sentences. Tell us what information from the 2 texts were the same, and in a 2nd paragraph or a 2nd set of sentences, tell us what information is different. I actually had to do mine over twice because I used a graphic organizer that was not helpful. So I found a graphic organizer
So
that was...
that one, you didn't really like that one?
I didn't really like this one.
Mine did pretty good with that one.
Because, well, their ability to record information was fine, but then to be able to take that information from the 2 texts and say, well, this is the same and this is different, they were able to pull similarities but not differences.
Our differences, okay. Mine
So-
did pretty good.
So that's why
But no,
we...
no, 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 no. It says, this one doesn't say.
It
You're gonna
doesn't
have
really
differences.
have- yeah.
Yeah, this one's the important information for each one.
Right.
So they didn't have to compare and contrast with this one.
Right.
No.
It was just, so that's
I
why
was-
they did pretty good. They just pulled out
I
important
was just trying to
details.
get them to pull out important details from both texts, not necessarily find similarities, which was what I found wrong with this one.
They don't have to find similarities.
Well,
we just have to
because-
find-
well,
When they're
because
doing the
we're-
the actual pre-test.
When they're
we don't
answering the
have it.
questions, they have to be able to say, this is what was similar between the 2
Right,
texts, and this
okay.
is what was different. So then I just regrouped and talked with you guys, and we did the Venn diagram.
Well, I actually learned from you because you had done your pretest before I had a chance to. And so I was actually going to use that as my graphic organizer, and I did do that information. We did Rosa Parks and Rosa on the bus. But when you said that your kids struggled so much, I thought, you know what, I bet you might, if your kids struggled, mine will too.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, let's try a Venn diagram on that.
Yeah.
So we put that data in the Venn diagram, made it easier for them to see the similarities and the differences. So they did well on this.
Yeah, I mean, I saw
considering.
my numbers go completely from red
Right.
and yellow to now I have 4 blue, 4 green,
Mhm.
2 yellow, and 3 red.
Right.
So I mean, just the difference on one graphic organizer
Mm-hmm.
made the difference for them.
Yeah, I think this is the most helpful for comparing and contrasting.
Yeah.
because,
And I think it's what we should probably continue to use
Mhm.
as a team throughout the month as we're teaching, reteaching, teaching, reteaching, because we'll do this for several weeks.
Right.
And then we'll finally post-test. My goal for my students by the end of the post-test is to be able to complete the Venn diagram on their own.
Oh,
So
sure.
this one was more like
Mine.
teacher and student led, yeah, like
Yeah,
there,
mine too. Mine too.
it was very, very modeled. Even though we've worked with it several times, it was like, what's the same, what's different? So I said, okay, let's break this down. What was this text over
Yeah.
to begin with?
Right.
And so they said, well, the branches of government. And I said, okay, what are the 3 branches of government? So then they had to list them. And I said, was that in both texts? And they said, well, yeah. And so I was like, that's a similarity. Let's put that in the center.
So in your post-test, are you going to use those exact passages and just they're responsible for creating their own Venn diagram, or are you using an entirely different post-test for that?
I don't know, that's what I struggle with having so many in the
What about you?
top percentage.
Would I think that we should use the same one?
How did yours,
Well, mine, I only did the once because I thought we were just doing the original pretest.
Mhm.
So I did it the one time and we did the original graphic
Graphic
organizer.
organizer.
And I had most of them in the red, which is expected usually for a pretest.
Right.
And then I had 5 that were in blue and green out of 13, so.
so you didn't use that one? You did something?
Well, because I did mine the first day
Completely different.
and.
Because I just decided today when I was like looking at my data, I was like, why did they struggle so much with this? And then I thought back to when Miss Kirshner was like, with the Venn diagram, and then I walked in and saw her kids, and they were like these beautiful, beautiful paragraphs.
Well, there was a
and I'm
lot
like,
of modeling with that Venn
I'm
diagram.
like,
Yeah.
oh.
Right.
So
They
I'm
were
like,
on their
let
own
me-
on it to put
I'm like,
together, right.
let me rethink this on my feet. And so then I just remade the copies and
They had a lot more success.
oh,
So do you think for the
ton more
post
success.
data, we should do the same passages you should, we should, and then they're just, you know,
Like
remember
rows
the
apart?
modeling that we did and pull the similarities in order to make it,
Well, I want to like try and slowly wean them off
Right.
the modeling because
Mhm.
I've been told that I need to kind of let go of the reins and let the kids take control of what they're doing.
And
see, and that's kinda like
And
what I did.
I struggle with that because I just want to like when they're like, oh, no, I just want to jump to the
Right,
rescue.
right.
Like here's
I can depend on that, let you stop.
here's what we need to do.
With this one, because when you showed me this.
Yeah.
I like this one because, like you said, the compare and contrast had, in the middle.
Right.
I did it together on my overhead, and we
Yeah.
all did it as a class. So when they did them by themselves, I wanted to see just how well they could
Yeah, I mean that's what.
grasp. That's what you did. But see,
And-
we did.
and we did
Next
this.
time I'm going to do it individually though, because I like.
And we did this together. So I mean, they
I
had
did
their
too.
own.
Oh, I
they
did
had,
too. You
did yours
They had their
individually.
own copy.
Oh,
Well,
I
no,
did mine
mean,
together.
Each student had their own copy.
Oh no, they didn't. We just did it together. I did the writing.
Oh,
And
the
it was up
writing,
over the
they were on
overhead.
their own,
Yeah,
but
that
they
part for
did
the
their
Venn
Venn
diagram, but this
diagram
part right here, they
together.
did all that on their own.
Oh,
But that
see,
Venn diagram, I did it up
I gave
there.
each of them a copy, and then
And see, that's what I'm gonna do
this
next
was
time.
this was up on here, and we
Mhm.
kind of
I just,
Right.
they just.
Discussed
walked
it
through it
and
together and
right,
looked
right.
through the two texts. So it would be I think we should all set the goal of by the end when we give our post test. I mean, we can give the same two texts, but kind of let them slowly wean them off of the
absolutely.
modeling to where they're filling this out, and this is even part of what we're looking at for
Right.
success
Oh,
as well as
sure.
filling out the Venn
Oh,
diagram.
sure, I agree.
So,
Ms. Williams, do you need some of those? You think you want?
Well, I did a Venn diagram. I got it off a website, and we compared two texts. Majority of my kids, I only had 6 kids that day, so out of 8, and they were like half and half. So 3 were in the blue, and then 3 were in the red.
Okay.
And I did a lot of modeling, but then I also had them, work together a little bit, and it came out pretty good.
Right.
But I know that I have to model a lot for them.
Right.
I probably won't be able to just let them do it on their own, even
Right.
probably by the post-test. But hopefully, maybe, I can.
I mean, I think compare and contrast is it's one of the hardest
Yeah.
topics. I mean, comparing and contrasting just information from one text. So when you're adding in now you're adding a complete second text, and you're like, so we're not just comparing and contrasting what's in here, what one author's saying, we're doing what two authors are saying.
One of the things that my students were struggling with is they can find out, I mean, they know, well, both of them were about the branches of government, but to ask them to find more, to think harder, to go more in depth, they were just like, well, it's only that, they were both about this. So to allow them to break it down and really focus on what is really being talked about in each passage, instead of just looking at the main.
And we definitely want to point out to the kids, you know, one, and with ours, with Rosa Parks, one was a biography, and the other one was historical fiction. I mean, those are the sort of things we really want them to gravitate. One had a photograph, one had an illustration. Those are the kind of out-of-the-box information that before on OAA was just not even a thought, and now it's all about those kind of details that I really have to look to make sure that I'm hitting those things rather than what inside the text is so different.
Yeah.
They may also have been confused on
Terminology, is that the comparison?
yeah. Well, no, this one is listing. You
This one
actually
they
list
just had
two
to-
pieces of information.
And they should have knew when you saw the
When you
word
see the word
They
list.
could have did bullets.
So that's going back
They
to
didn't have
test
to
you.
write a paragraph.
Yep. So students focus on finding word quality. They may also have been confused on the terminology.
Some of them even indent it though, like. But then when it's time to write a paragraph, they don't.
But you know what? They see this box and it has all these lines.
And they think they have to.
And they
fill
think
them
that,
out.
right, instead of just bulleting.
I think a lot of it was interpretation too, because when I read it, a lot of them, what I noticed, even though it says list information that can be found in both selection 1 and selection 2, a lot of them would find something from selection 1 and then something from selection 2.
But it
Instead of
wouldn't
the
be-
same, yeah.
Where
So they
a common
interpretation. Question.
Alright, so question number 3 and number 8 were the questions that students missed the most. Question number 3 asks, how do the main ideas of both articles contrast? Students may have been confused with looking at multiple concepts in a question and finding the differences in those concepts. Question number 8 asks students to list 2 pieces of information that can be found in both selections 1 and 2. Students focused on quantity more than quality. They may also have been confused on the terminology. They did not list the information.
And then something else we could add later, with the gender, did gender even matter? Like, did you see a difference between?
In question number 8, I don't
Like,
think so.
males did better than females or scored more proficient? It didn't really make a difference, did it? We can say that too. And then I think that's time.
Yep. It's not affected.